Hi, how are you doing today? With the release of Black Ops 6, I've seen mixed opinions of the game. Some people are saying we're so back, baby, while some still think Call of Duty is going down the shitter due to SBMM or the bad maps, the spawns, but they do agree classic zombies is back, so something people can agree on. Some other things the community is happy about is the classic prestige system is back, another return to classics, camo grinds are back as in every COD game, and the campaign is not Warzone missions. So listing these things, you'd think the community would rejoice, right? Well, tough luck. Now let me make this loud and very, very clear. I did not buy Black Ops 6. The only experience I have with the game is the multiplayer beta, so I'm not here to validate the opinion of the COD haters or the COD fanboys. There are plenty of videos doing that just fine. My purpose here is simply to toss my dumb opinion into the mix and hopefully not get eaten alive by the beast that is the COD community. And I will say this as well, just in case it wasn't obvious from the title itself. This is my opinion. This is one person's opinion and not an objective fact or how the entire COD community feels. Modern day Call of Duty just isn't for me anymore, and it most likely isn't for you too. Let me explain. First, we need to establish what I mean when I say modern Call of Duty. The way I see it, modern Call of Duty started with the release of Modern Warfare Reboot in 2019 and Warzone 1, as there has been a huge gap between releases. The game came out on the new and improved IW8 engine and brought about a huge amount of changes that would set in stone how future games are gonna look like. First one being no more black market like in Black Ops 3, and no more loot boxes. That got replaced with $20 bundles, which, as much as you want to shit on the microtransactions of this game, in my opinion is way better than gambling for a skin, because at least here I can buy what I want. More important changes are to the gameplay, movement, the new Gunsmith, and most importantly, how a game chooses which lobbies to put you in. So let's talk about those.
Bravo 6, going dark.
Now, if Call of Duty is anything, it's pretty straightforward. You walk, you run, you point, and you shoot. That's it. In theory. At least it was up until the modern era of COD. Now you can walk, sprint, tack sprint, mount, open, close doors, slide, and slide cancel. Now previous CODs did have mechanics of sliding and dolphin diving, but it was not used like this. This is what I call advanced movement right here. Future installments later added holding onto ledges, and the newest installment added something called Omni movement. And back then we thought jetpacks and wall running were advanced. Something else I find an issue with is
AR-15, 11.5 inch, compensated with an iron-bonded bolt carrier.
the Gunsmith. Just this section alone will most likely get me crucified by the community, but fuck it. The Gunsmith introduced a semi-new system with letting the player choose 5 attachments per gun, as opposed to the old pick 10 system introduced back in Black Ops 2. You can deck out your gun with suppressors, scopes, barrels, grips, whatever you want. In a sense, it was actually a really good system, and Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War executed it perfectly in my opinion. But then Modern Warfare 2 2022 and Modern Warfare 3 2023 happened and completely broke it with one thing: oversaturation. Look at this. Look at how many of these are. And these are just scopes. Imagine that for almost every category. I understand why Modern Warfare 2022 introduced the attachment sharing system, because I think you'd go absolutely insane trying to unlock all of these for every single gun. And why is oversaturation such a big issue? Because out of all of these, 70% are either useless or rarely if ever used, as you will most likely use the ones that are in the meta that month, rendering most of these as just purely fillers. Now, back in the ye olden days of Call of Duty, for example, let's take Black Ops 3, you had 1 grip, 1 suppressor, and 5 to 6 scopes, give or take. That way, it was ensured that even if you are a low-level player going up against someone who has attachments, you aren't at such a big disadvantage. Sure, the guy with the 4x zoom will likely see you first, but you will still have a fighting chance. Now, if you come up against someone who has the meta SMG, they can aim down sights faster than you, they have less recoil than you, they do more damage than you, and have a higher fire rate than you. That increased damage isn't as big of a deal as I made it out to be, but it's a big enough deal that you will lose the encounter, and that's going to suck for you, because if you dare, God forbid if you dare to do well, you will trigger it. The it that I'm talking about is the SBMM. So, what does SBMM stand for? It is skill-based matchmaking. There is a long document Activision released on how it works. I'll link it in the description if you want to read it for yourself, but the general idea is the game tracks your performance and puts you in lobbies that have players as close to your performance as possible. There are other factors like internet connection, as that does play a big role in the process as well. But basically, that's why your first game of the day will make you feel like a god, and then everything after you will be going 8-20 in a simple game of domination. There's also talks about something called engagement optimized matchmaking, which is not confirmed, but there are theories and a lot of evidence to back it up. Without getting into the nitty-gritty of things, EOMM is structured to keep you hooked on the game as long as possible. It will give you easy lobbies at first to get you hooked, and then curb stomp you until it feels like you're about to quit, and then it'll give you another easy lobby to make you feel like you're getting better again. And after that, curb stomp you again, and so on and so forth. That is why every COD starting with Modern Warfare 2019 feels like an esports match every time you boot up the game. After this short crash course, let's point out the issues I'm personally having with the game. I want you to think about your first Call of Duty game. Just picture it in your head. If you're an old school Call of Duty player, you most likely pictured one of these. What do all these have in common? They are easy to pick up and play. Well, except these three. They do need some practice to get better at. That was the beauty of old school Call of Duty games. It was an arcadey shooter you can learn quickly and play if you're short on time or you just want a small breather from life. Or the other side of the spectrum, you can get invested in it with camo grinds, attachment grinds, prestige systems, and also the class creation system was simple but had some depth to it that could have been understood within a few game sessions. Fast forward to today. Hundreds of attachments, advanced movement, SBMM. This isn't a game anymore. It is a full-time job. I just want to boot up the game of TDM, get some kills, win, lose, I don't care, and go off to do something else. I don't want to fucking snort G Fuel while downing 2 monsters just to go positive in one game and then promptly collapse in a pool of my own vomit and sweat. I suspect Activision doesn't like that type of player anymore, the casual gamer. They want you to spend as much time in the game as possible. That's why there's so many options in the menu, why engagement optimized matchmaking is suspected to be in play. The longer you stay, the more likely it is you will spend money in the game. Plus, we see that they recently merged all the newer Call of Duty games into one launcher. Now, the optimist in me wants to be like, well, they're doing it for our convenience so we all have our games in one spot. But I can't help myself to think this might be a way to appear as if there's a lot of players in the eyes of the executives. If that's the case, from a business point of view, it's brilliant. It is a really good way to appear as if they have big numbers when factoring all modern COD games in one launcher. But from a consumer standpoint, it just feels predatory. Not illegal in any way, just morally scummy.
Grind, mad grind. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nothing but grind. I'm on the grind. My house, this ain't a normal house, it's a grind house.
I don't really care all that much for camos and getting the newest mastery camo. I see a cool camo I like, I grind till I get it and go on with my day. To me, they're just pretty colors, not a status symbol. I have nothing against camo grinders, hell, I admire the dedication to the craft. But I'm getting the feeling like the games now are made mostly for either players who grind for camos or the players I can actively smell through my monitor. Black Ops 6 has a problem with small maps, as the community pointed out. Previous games had their own small map mosh pits that was just for those kinds of things, but they also had medium and large maps for those who wanted to play a more relaxed kind of game. I feel the devs got a bit frightened from the reaction they got after designing the Ghosts or Modern Warfare 2019 maps, as those were truly large maps. So now they went from one extreme to the other. Even the medium-sized maps compared to previous releases look small. I am aware it's a meme, but you can't tell me it's not accurate.
Future's now, old man.
Just reading this card, I'm guessing you probably cringed, like really hard, but hear me out. The Actman said it best with this statement.
At some point in its lifespan, Call of Duty decided that making decisions and using your brain was too boring for the 7-year-old toddlers that begged their mommy to buy them the next Call of Duty.
As much as everyone complained during Ghost's life cycle how the maps are too big and you can't find anyone to shoot, now they made sure you do find someone to shoot. Hell, they'll even spawn right behind you, up front, or next to you, so whoever has the itchier trigger finger wins. I think as the franchise progresses forward, they're going to cater more to the grinders and the players who devote their time to COD and COD alone. Because those guys study the meta, spend I don't know how long tailoring their loadouts to gain even a smidge of advantage over you, practice the hell out of Omni movement, and most importantly, are devoted enough to the game to be a steady flow of cash through the battle pass and the in-game store. While Jimmy Duty over here, who just got back from the graveyard shift, will play one good game and the rest will just struggle to keep up with the types of players I mentioned above and will promptly leave the game frustrated. Call of Duty, with all its flaws voiced by the community and myself included here, isn't going to change because that's the new demographic they're going after. The casual player such as myself who grew up when COD was simple just isn't viable anymore. Why should we be the priority if we don't bring the big bucks and won't stick with the game forever? Even though COD contradicts itself in that aspect as well due to yearly releases. You can't stick to one game forever because they'll stop supporting it. While they are changing that with Warzone and making all the games similar to each other in a style as to not stray too far from what the player's familiar with, you still have to pay now 80, previously 70 euros for the game that will become obsolete in a year. It's like a Call of Duty yearly subscription. I would just say God bless the Game Pass. I know I said I wouldn't fuel the COD hate train, and my goal with this video wasn't for you to walk away with, "Ha, I was right, he hates Call of Duty, it's trash, time to argue on reddit.com. If that's what you got from this, cool, glad I could be of assistance. My goal with this video was to show you how Activision isn't randomly going against the community because they hate us. They just respond to what people want. We got all the legacy features back in the newest one. Activision saw that the majority of the players enjoy the camo grind and don't want slow tactical maps, so they gave us smaller maps, ensuring we always get some action and our attention doesn't by any chance go to something else. And that last reason is exactly why I think newer Call of Duties lost me as a player, and most likely some of the older players as well. As I started my second year in college, I realized I fell off from some of the competitive titles such as Rainbow Six Siege and newer COD games because A, they became less fun as they added more stress to my current day-to-day life. B, I simply didn't have the time to improve and keep up with the folks who do have the time. And finally C, I realized there are other fun titles I fell out of love or never tried due to sinking so much time into just one game, be it COD or Rainbow Six. I remember never playing Forza Horizon 4 in my life. One day it was on sale, so I got it, and once I started playing that, I realized how much I was missing out by just sinking time into just these two titles. And you can tell me that it's my fault for just focusing on one title, and yeah, it's completely fair. But in my mind, if I wasn't playing at least a few hours of COD a day, I was falling behind those who did, and I just couldn't do that anymore. It was just pure burnout. So, my advice, if you're feeling burnt out from Call of Duty and you feel like you can't play casually anymore, maybe it's time to take a step back. While it may sound stupid telling you to quit COD because we all know that's never gonna happen, it's like an abusive relationship, maybe go back a title or two. Revisit older titles that brought you joy back in the day, as Call of Duty wasn't just special because of the content, it was special because of the memories we made on it. While true, it's difficult to revisit older titles due to these scumbags, there are clients such as Plutonium that allows you to replay those titles with more security. Or if you have a title from your childhood that isn't COD, try going back to that. Maybe you'll find the fun and joy you used to feel back then. Stay safe out there.